Good evening, YouTube. It's very close to Christmas, so I'm going to do a review of a specialty product. I've had many jobs in my life, some great, some not so great, and one of them was at a very visible kind of a health food retailer, a giant corporate iconic like organic food marketplace, the good one. So I became aware of this brand while I worked there, and I did fall for it, but it's been a long time. I mean, it's been close to a year, I guess, since I last was employed by that company. So I haven't revisited these products since then. So I thought, as I was driving by this evening, we're planning on some pierogies as a meal in the coming days. Not really as a tradition. That seems a little bit as if it's sort of a planned meal, like those popular New Year's dishes of black beans or something, or black-eyed peas, and but it really has nothing to do with that. It's just pierogi night, which is pretty rare. But the sauerkraut you buy for $1 out of a can is just vile, and even some of the upmarket ones aren't really that good. I mean, I don't really like the vinegary uniform kind of just blah flavor. So today we're going to enjoy some Bubbies, just a little sample for the purposes of the review. I guess I'm going to sample, I don't know if I should have the sauerkraut or the pickles first, because I want my palate to sort of ramp up the intensity. I guess I'll go with the sauerkraut last, because it might be a much more, it might cause some disruption in my palate, because I got one batch one time that was too sour. There was something wrong with the manufacturing process. Well, I mean, maybe it just went on too long. But by and large, it's been a fantastic product. So without further ado, I'm going to begin with these Bubbies pickles. It's presented nicely. We have a lady there. There she is. Miss Bubbies. It's sort of a classic, or, well, maybe a loosely fashioned retro look, sort of. Gold medal best pickle in America. That's a hefty claim. By the supposedly juried by the chefs in America, for whatever that's worth. Gold medal best pickle. Well, they're reiterating it. And I was thrilled by these pickles. No sugar, vinegar, or preservatives. That's the important stuff. And on the back, we see that it's a Canadian product and then imported and packaged, I guess, in the U.S. Artisanal well water, salt, a natural salt called calcium chloride, garlic, cucumbers, of course, dill and spices with mustard seed. And if you've never tasted these or seen them, there's a little appealing picture. So overall, the packaging is interesting. And so they use Moby pickles. Live cultures. Alright, that's enough of that. Let's get to it. Oops, well, my fork is adulterated. $5 retail for each. So I mean, this is $10 worth of goods here. It's very cloudy and briny. Well, yeah, you can even see the camera's picking up just how briny this is. The pickles, uniformly about this size, which is great. I love pickles. The smaller, the better. I've also been a consumer of Clausen's, and in some periods of my life, I've eaten lots and lots of pickles. So smaller is always better. The bigger the pickle gets, the flavor goes down the drain. Then you're just eating just the carrier for their filthy low-end vinegar usually. Okay, it does have a freshness. It's hard to make it explicit, but it does have kind of the aroma of the garden, sort of. I guess there's no pasteurization involved, no vinegar. I don't know if it's pasteurized or not, but whatever they do, it's gentle enough to preserve kind of the, well, the sin of the earth a little bit. Let's go. First I'm going to test the brine out. Okay, first of all, you're presented with a very soft pickle. This kind of is in line with what I remember from eating jar after jar of them. It's a pronounced salt hit. The pickle dissolves into mush. Just the slightest amount of tooth. It just doesn't instantly evaporate into a paste or anything, but it's very soft. There's no crunch. My teeth glided right through the pickle. It's interesting. Batch by batch, I'm certain, are different with these products. I still think it's worth trying. If you like pickles, also give a go with the room temperature technique. If you let the pickles sit, see these are clearly marked as like having to be refrigerated, blah blah, woof woof. But if you do let the pickle rest, you can pick up the flavor of the spicing agents a little bit better, and just the overall flavor is improved a bit by room temperature. But I didn't have the foresight to get these into a room temperature, so this is kind of their retail ready state, because you'll only be able to buy them refrigerated and your first experience will probably be just like this. There's a little bit of zest and tanginess. It doesn't really have in the spice department, it doesn't have the kind of the garden fresh zing that I would like. So I've grown dill, and the character of the dill here is really covered up. But I'm getting a largely unprocessed kind of a garlic flavor that fades in and out, like that particular little bite. It's a bit more garlicky. I want to keep enjoying them. I'm about to have my dinner, so maybe one's enough. But the brine wasn't too impressive this time. Overall, I love the idea of supporting this company who's doing kind of a different take on pickles, and I've been flabbergasted with the quality of them on a couple of occasions. So it's definitely worth that gamble. If you're into pickles, I certainly can recommend giving Bubbies a go. They have a different couple of other products in their range. I remember looking them up like a year and a half ago, but I can't even remember what they are now. And on the market shelf where I can find these products, they've only got the one, well, the two things, the kraut and the pickles. So let's move forward. Okay, so here we go. This is their sauerkraut. It smells great. Here's their quirky packaging comic on this particular product. It says, Bubbies turns cabbage into her famous sauerkraut. Live cultures, etc. And you can see the female gardener, Miss Bubby. She can be seen there wearing her pink dress, just doing a little cabbage processing. So they must use some big old cabbage heads. And the ingredients here, this is so refreshing. Cabbage, artesian well water, and salt. So if you've not tried a sauerkraut that's not just a blast of vinegar prepared in kind of the traditional fashion, you can do it at home. I've had a few experiments with it, but it's I hit it with too much salt, so I kind of had to ditch that batch, or my most recent batch, and then I've just not really ever tried it. Maybe several years ago I tried, but I think that if I got into the habit of prepping fresh garden cabbage into sauerkraut, I would never stop. But it's just not possible at the present moment for me. It's that they are saying it is a traditional old world recipe sauerkraut. Also no sugar, vinegar, preservatives. And there's Bubby. She has a warmth about her. It's a good portrait of her. Alright. This particular batch I'm hoping is just the bomb. Oh man. Jeez. Not very salty at all. It doesn't really need much. There's a slipperiness to the individual cabbage leaf. I've got to have me another taste of this one. Let's see here. It's light. It's not overwhelming, and especially compared to the conventional market. Well, just the corporate offerings. It's so good. It's not in a wow you. It's not good in a wow me way, in a wowza. But it's really good. Well, frankly, it's the only kind of sauerkraut that I think that I would really enjoy that makes it to the marketplace. I mean, it's not astoundingly life-changingly good, but this is definitely quality sauerkraut. I wish I had more to say. It's just, I don't want to come off as feeling as underwhelmed, but it's just kind of, you know, it's sauerkraut. It's got a good crunch. So the cabbage still has some of those cell wall structures still in effect. And you really do taste kind of just the fermented flavor. It's not overwhelmingly salty. It doesn't taste like raw cabbage or anything. It's just got the fermentation flavor, sort of the, I forget what they say about it, but it's filled with it's filled with the taste of natural fermentation. And a lot of the foods we enjoy daily are fermented foods. I wish I had the list with me. But like tea and chocolate, and there's a big kind of a laundry list of foods that we eat that undergo a little bit of a sort of an alchemical change as a part of the processing. But in the old fashioned, I think that I think it's just a resounding success. So, Bubbies products, if you ever see them and you've got a spare buck or two, because you do pay the premium, but it is quality stuff. And remember, it's a little bit of a crapshoot. So you might get a Bubbies sauerkraut jar that's far too tart for your tastes. You might get one that underwhelms you, but and the pickles too. It's just sort of the risk you take, and I think it's worth it, especially if you're exploring products that you already like that reach a wide market. And I've always been a fan of pickles, and I guess I can say that I've always kind of been a fan of sauerkraut too. I grew up eating Reubens that my mom would prepare, and that's just the rye bread, Swiss cheese, sauerkraut, corned beef, I guess are the ingredients. Probably just put into a sandwich form, fried with a little butter, and they're fantastic. I've not had one in many years, but so I have always enjoyed sauerkraut and pickles, and if you have too and you get the chance, I think it's worth it to give them a go, because it's different. It's something a little bit different, and that deserves applause.